just sort of being able to find opportunities outside of the classroom, taking what I've learned and taking what I've become passionate about and channeling that outside of school. So for example, basically since 8th grade, I've been designing prosthetic hands. And that's something that I never learned how to do in school. I never had like an engineering class or robotics class or anything, but I just sort of knew that I really loved biology and I wanted to follow that further and just got super interested in it. And then when I got a little bit stuck, I had learned during my time here how to just sort of find opportunities and find different pathways. And so I reached out to someone to just ask someone who's a professional in the field of prosthetics to ask them, how do you do this? How does this work in the real world? And that opened a whole nother, plethora of opportunities for me. So just sort of, that's what I think I'm most proud of, finding ways to take what I've learned and expand that further and to just keep on persisting in different topics that I'm really interested in. I would say one of the biggest influences in my life has been my Latin teacher, Miss Moss. She has really taught me how to explore ideas, explore literature in a much deeper and broader sense. So back in 9th grade, we read the Odyssey in English class and in English, and we just read it like a story, and it was pretty straightforward. And then this year in Latin, I took Latin 5. I've had her every year since 6th grade, and I took Latin 5 with her this year, and we read the Aeneid in Latin. And so first of all, just having the ability to read pure Latin the way that it was written so long ago, the way that Virgil wrote it, was just so phenomenal. And that's something that that's a gift she gave me, basically. And being able to read it, and I was expecting, we'll translate and, just sort of get into the grammar, but she really taught me to dive deeper into the story and to really look beyond what's being presented on the surface. So, it's being written as a piece of propaganda, basically, for Augustus, the first emperor, but what's Virgil really saying? What's going on behind the context of this? What's happening in Rome at the time it's being written, and how does that apply? And she really taught me to look beyond what's being presented. So, what's being written on a page isn't always the deeper meaning behind something, and just being taught to question everything that we're learning and giving me this really, really deep interest and this really deep passion for history and for stories and looking deeper beyond, the basic, thing that's presented to you. I would also say that my classmates here have been really inspiring for me, and that might sound really, cliche to say, but our grade is such a mosaic of really different personalities and people who are so engaging and so fascinating to really just sit and listen to. And sometimes in class, nearly every day, in some class or another, some classmate of mine brings up this point, and it's so poignant, and it really gets me thinking. It's something I would have never thought of myself. And every single person in our grade, and I can truly say this, is so interesting, and they have something about them that's just so inspiring, whether it be just their ability to connect with someone, their ability to think deeply about a topic, their ability to reach out and be generous. There's just so many amazing qualities that my classmates have that have been really inspiring for me. And over the past 4 years, just getting to meet these different people and all of the different lives that they've led, and just watching them grow has sort of really inspired me as I've developed and as I've become, a senior in high school. It's really been inspiring to watch them flourish. Okay, I would say the thing that I missed out on the most, I've tried to, remain optimistic about everything, but the thing that I have missed out on has been my cross-country season, my senior year cross-country season. And as a junior, I started running in 7th grade, And as a junior, I got a little bit injured in my shins, and I was talking with my coach, and we decided to sort of pull out from some races so I could save my legs for senior year. And so it's kind of a bummer to have missed that chance. If I had known that that would be my last Southeast New England race that I could have run, I definitely would have run it. But I am very thankful that we were able to still run. We just couldn't compete. But it is really sort of crazy, and it made me think about just how much stuff I have just sort of missed out on, because you always think, oh, there'll be next year's season, right? There'll be something else that I can do. But learning that the time that you have is perhaps the only time you have, right? Knowing that last season, junior year season, would have been, my last time to get my best race in, to run those courses that I love. Just learning to really appreciate what I have while I have it, because nothing's a given, and I've definitely learned that. So yeah, missing out on my cross-country season was definitely a bummer, but I would say that I don't regret missing out on it, because it has taught me about appreciating what I have, and appreciating definitely the people around me, and the fact that even though we weren't still racing, there was a cohort of people in the fall that I was able to still run with and still get out on the trails with. So that was really great. The thing that I've learned throughout this time is just appreciating what you have, and acknowledging that nothing is permanent, nothing is a given. And I also definitely learned the value of time, in a way, right? Having, for example, my brother's at the Coast Guard Academy, and having him come home over the pandemic, that's something we had months together that we wouldn't have had. So that's something, again, learning to value time and the time that I have with the people around me. That's definitely been a positive, if it feels kind of weird to say that, but a positive of this experience. I would say a happy memory, at least just from this year. On our last day of school, so the seniors get out of school 2 weeks before everybody else to work on our capstone projects. And on our last morning, we did a senior sunrise. So whoever wanted to come, we met in Niantic at a beach there and watched the sunrise, and then got breakfast. And that was just such a fun time to be on the beach. Some people went swimming, we were playing Frisbee, and it was just such a great time together as a class. And it's the last day, so it's a little bit nostalgic, but just having that moment on the beach at sunrise, just sort of being together as a grade, whoever wanted to come could come. That was definitely a really good memory that will stick with me. One of the best memories I have from cross country was when I was in 7th grade. That was my first season, and I ended up, I don't really know how, but I ended up winning the Connecticut championship. And the coach from another team came up to me and was so thoughtful, and he shook my hand and said, I'll be excited to watch you go throughout your high school career. And during our junior year season, I was injured, and so I had to miss out on our Southeast New England race. And it was held at that coach's, home course. And he was so nice, and the coaches from other schools recognized me and recognized that I wasn't running, and came up to me on the course walk, and as we were out on the course watching the race, they're coming up to me and we're having these really great conversations. And I just sort of realized how thoughtful and what great people I met during my time on cross country. The runners, especially on the starting line, almost before every race, we're all in our individual boxes and kind of nervous for the race, but everyone's sort of looking around at the other schools and saying, good luck, have a great race. On the course, when people are getting past, they're saying, good job. I think that just I met some of the best people that I met during my 4 years in high school, I met through cross country. And, my teammates, my coaches, teammates and coaches from other schools, parents across the board, just some of the best people that I met, and some of the best memories that I made were with those people, and met them through cross country. And that's something, although it can be a painful sport and it can be tough to chug through sometimes, it's definitely one of my happiest memories would just be every cross country season, hands down. Next year I'll be going to Yale and I'll be studying biomedical engineering. We'll see where that takes me. In terms of careers, I'm not sure. I could see medicine being down the line. I could see medical research. Really unsure, but at least for next year in the fall, I'll be at Yale studying biomedical engineering.